Maybe I just start off with a show of hands if you're in a shop where you have just one or two people that are managing your business continuity program. So a lot of us are in the same boat, right? So we want to be agile with what we do. We want to provide value to our shareholders and our stakeholders and to our company. So what I want to do is really twofold. First of all, give you some tips that I wish I had 10, 20, 25 years ago when I was in these different roles in companies with Cisco and prior. And also just give you some good advice on, now that you're in this role, what can you do to provide value and to get the most bang for your buck, so to speak. If I may, just a really quick overview of Cisco. I'm sure most folks have heard of us. We're a global company, but we're really built on a business resiliency platform that's three pillars. I manage the Enterprise Business Continuity Program. There's a huge IT disaster recovery program. Most companies have that and been around for decades. And then the third is a global incident management team, the folks that look around 24/7 to see what could impact the thousands of Cisco's facilities and suppliers that are out there. And we do this all with the centralized business continuity program. So we're based out of San Jose. We have a huge presence in North Carolina as well. And we provide that oversight and governance to multiple business units. So it's a decentralized program. Every business unit has people assigned to manage their business continuity programs, the activities that go on an annual cycle. The challenges that we have is we're very fast-paced. Technology is, continuing to move forward at quantum paces. So we have new technologies. We have new business units that stood up. We have maybe retired old business units. So we have a lot of people that are involved in business continuity either for the first time or moved into an entirely different business unit, and the processes that they're managing are new to them. So a lot of what we do is training and awareness and continuing to make sure that we're covering all of our bases and we haven't missed anything. And the last bullet I think is important to note. So I came from a utility company where we really did a lot with hurricanes or tornadoes or ice storms, and they would be a couple times a year and you could predict those were coming. But we do 40 to 50 activations globally a year for things like government takeovers, tsunamis, flooding in major facilities in major countries, Australia, things of that nature. So there's always something that we're doing, and I have to make sure as a team of one that I'm providing the best services to my company as I can and being thorough in what I do. So I want to break down a couple of buckets of what I think are important nuggets to share with you all. So the first one is, this is really an opportunity to excel. If someone has put you in this position, you've been vetted pretty strongly that you're a good candidate to do this work, because it is, as Frank will mention to you, you get to learn a little bit about everything in the company, but you also learn a lot about sensitive things that go on in the company. So you have confidentiality. They want to make sure that you're trustworthy with the information that you have. So you are the program's identity. When somebody talks about business continuity at XYZ company, they're looking to you to be that subject matter expert. So be that subject matter expert. Don't shy away from conversations when people ask you about business resiliency or business continuity. Ensure your leadership is aware of your success. So nobody's probably going to promote you about what you do and how you do it if you're not doing it yourself. So take those opportunities to showcase yourself. Now, it's not about being prideful, but it's about sharing with people that you have a strong program and you want people to know about it. Safety and security of your people and your assets and your functions are so important to your company. At Cisco, people are our number one asset. So we want to make sure that we're making sure that we're taking care of them, and business resiliency allows us to do that in a major way. Move the program forward. So you've been handed a program. Maybe you're doing a BIA on an annual or every 2-year basis. Maybe you have some business continuity plans set up. Let's not rest on our laurels. Let's make sure that we're continuing to move the program forward. Things you can do is reach out to other people in your industry, your peers, and find out what they're doing. I just sat in a session with the Microsoft folks when they were talking about business intelligence. There's always something new that you can learn and that you can apply and embed into your program. So please don't just take your program and, like some people say with a business continuity plan, it doesn't just sit on the shelf. So you want to make sure that you're improving it. Be available and stay engaged. You may be in a company that is regional or US based or global. We're global, obviously. So being available is a challenge for me, and it could be a challenge for y'all. I have calls at 2 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock at night. But really, the value that you bring to your company is being that that face of business continuity for those folks. So make sure that you're available, make sure, very simple things. Keep that calendar up to date so people know when they can reach out to you, and stay engaged. If you're having a conversation with somebody about their risk assessments, make sure that you're there and make sure that you're engaged with them on that process and not just kind of putting them out there, because the last thing you want to do is give somebody work to do, have one session with them, they get a basic idea of what you want them to do, and then make them go away and finish themselves without any opportunities to come back to you. So stay engaged in that. And another really important thing for me is be the expert. So there's a lot of training opportunities in business continuity. I think BCI is out here this week. DRII is there, this conference in general. Stay in that training mode. Never sit back and just say, I've learned enough, because I know many people in the IT world that thought they knew enough and they were great on COBOL, and 10 years ago that was great, but now not so much for folks. And then the last bullet on here is own your program. So if you're a 1 or 2 person shop, this is your baby, right? This is what you're doing for a living. Be passionate about it. Share that with other folks. And if people challenge you on why things are being done the way they are, listen to them. But at the end of the day, you own that program, so you need to manage it to that expectation. Second bullet, think strategic. Again, you're a team of 1. You don't want to be in the weeds on every BIA and sitting in every interview that someone has, but you do want to help them. But some things that I've learned in my career that I think are helpful for y'all: meet with your leadership team to set priorities. It's great if you know what you think you want your program to do, but let's align those with what your pillar of the company, your business unit wants to do, and also what the enterprise wants to do. You get so much more traction if you're moving in the same direction in the stream than trying to fight what you think against what your appetite for risk of your leadership is. And then stay focused on those. So if you meet with your VP and you come up with 3 or 4 main topics that you want to work on for that year, stay focused on that. Something may come on, and maybe you sit back and have another conversation with those folks, but finish the tasks you have at hand, finish those projects. That's what buys value to the company. Avoiding project creep. I'm sure we've all dealt with this. We're working on several different initiatives. Someone comes up with a great new way to do something 3/4 of the way through the project. Put that on your brainstorming list, or put that on your parking lot. But make sure that you stay focused with the limited amount of resources that you have to stay focused on the tasks at hand. Don't get weighed down on smaller issues. I mean, it's so easy to do. At Cisco, there's 26 business units. I interact with about 75 people on a monthly basis that are doing business continuity, and I tell them my calendar's up to date. Let's schedule a meeting. But we need to make sure that we're adding value. I use that term a lot, but it's really critical. You've got to make sure that what you're doing is moving the program forward. And for me, one of the things that some people might cringe about is reaching out to audit or governance. But for me, it's sometimes a very useful tool. If at the end of the day I can't get something done, and I've been complimentary to what the work that they've done so far, but I need them to move forward and they just can't get there, I would challenge you to maybe use the audit folks to move that program or move that task forward. Third one, creative resourcing. So you're a team of 1 or a team of 2. There's lots of work that you want to get done. There may not be enough hours in the day, honestly, to get it done. So what can you do? Well, the first thing that we always reach out for is, can we get some FTEs or some additional employees or staff to do that work? But just going to your VP or going to your director and saying, I need another person because I can't get the work done, that's probably not the tactic that you want to take. So things that I've done is I've built up a kind of a portfolio of reasons why I would like to add another person to my team. What kind of value would they add? What additional work could we take on? What could we take the program to the next level to do? Use metrics. Show where you're at in the program and what could be done with an additional resource. Do some benchmarking. Reach out to your peers and see what work they've done with the amount of staff they have in place. And talk about major initiatives that you'd like to do that might not be on your priority list for this year. We have a lot of things that we do at Cisco really well. We have pockets of our company that are just, I would say, world-class of what they do. Supplier resiliency is one of those. We have over 3,000 suppliers that we use throughout the globe. So our supply chain folks are all over that. But we do have some pockets in the company that might not have really reached out to their vendors and said, hey, if we do have a big resiliency issue or disruption, what's your plans? So, that's an area where I would love to focus more on. but time permitting and resource permitting, that's kind of the 1A pocket, and so I always use that as maybe a major initiative that we're not currently working on. Reaching out to business units that are interested in stretch assignments. At Cisco, we have such a wealth of really intelligent folks that are always looking to take on new tasks or learn new things. So I might not be able to hire on a contractor or a full staff employee, but I have a lot of people that have a passion to learn about how we do business at Cisco. So right now I have a person who's working with us who's from our global security group who is assisting on some project management work. And she comes for like 5 hours a week and she helps us out on very specific tasks. It helps build up her resume, so to speak, internally with the company. And it helps me do a lot of things that I wouldn't have been able to do and leverage her expertise in web, things of that nature. Creating a mentoring team has been a huge success for us. We have a lot of skilled people at Cisco who've been doing business continuity for many years. What I have had the opportunity to do is leverage some of those people to assist new business continuity planners that come on board. So I don't have to be the only person that has all the answers. I can share a mentor with somebody who's new on board. And another key to that is they might be a little intimidated about going to the one program manager in the whole company to ask for assistance when they could ask a business unit person who does this on a daily basis, get there. How do you do an interview, a BIA interview? How do you best get into the discussion with these folks? I haven't had success in that previously. So those folks can help you do that. So mentoring, we have 5 people at Cisco that do that. I assign a person to be their mentee, and it has been, just a huge success. And then the last one, and this was a stretch for me to do last year, but it came to fruition, is we have some business continuity auditors that are actually certified. So what they're doing is, obviously we're going to be externally audited and internally on a frequency of maybe every 2 years, but these folks help self-assess other programs within the company. So if you have people that know what to look for in business continuity programs and opportunities for improvement, absolutely leverage those. So we have 7 folks at Cisco that help us to look at other business unit programs and give them advice and improvement opportunities. And so my last bullet is to be agile. So team of one, what are you going to do with 24 hours in a day, 12 hours of work, whatever it takes. Some things that I've leveraged to really help me be successful at Cisco is hold recurring meetings with business continuity personnel. Like I said, there's 75 people. To reach out to each individually to have discussions on similar topics just doesn't make any sense. So we have a cadence of a monthly call where we sit down and talk about the state of business continuity at Cisco, what key topics that we're working on, what key deliverables for that month or that quarter, and also bring in some subject matter experts. So we'll bring in somebody from supply chain to talk about incident management and supply chain. We'll bring somebody from IT to give them a better awareness of how the disaster recovery program works. So I would highly recommend doing some type of a cadence of meetings with folks on your team. Setting up workshops. As we did this BIA, or we do business continuity planning, I want to bring everybody together so they can see a very concise walkthrough of how we do a business impact analysis, and then give chance to ask questions. So if 3 or 4 people, and we all know this, if 3 or 4 people might have the same question, they might not ask it, but if one person brings that topic up, it can open up a whole bunch of dialogue. So I do that for all the deliverables. We do something every quarter at Cisco, so we set up recurring workshops. I record those on our WebEx sessions so people can go back to listen to those. I would also profess to have a very strong website out there. So you have a centralized point where people can go to find out where the training material is, who our key contacts are, where the business impact analysis documentation is, all those things, the link to our business continuity application, all those things in one place. And the key is to keep it current, because if I was to go out there and there was somebody on there who was the VP from 7 months ago that they were looking for, people would lose interest and you lose credibility if you don't have accurate information. Develop web-based training. Again, one-on-one is a great way to provide information to folks, but the web-based training, everybody's receiving the same information. They can sign up for it and actually have a little bit of an audit trail to say that they've completed it on somewhat of a cycle, and we can use that for our auditors. Be proactive in communicating to stakeholders. I think this for me is one of the keys. we always want to make sure that we're proactive instead of reactive. So if we have a business disruption, or if we have something major happening in the company, I want to get out in front of my leadership team and my key stakeholders and let them know what's going on. So please communicate, be concise, be relevant in the information that you provide, make it valuable, but always make sure that you're providing information. And then the last bullet that I have on here is to leverage a business continuity tool. So another raise of hands, how many people are using Word documents and Excel spreadsheets to do most of your business continuity work, right? So about half, which is good, because I think maybe 5 or 6 years ago it might have been a lot more. I used a tool in the last company I worked for. We're using Resilience One now, and the transparency of seeing all that information in one place and being able to get reports in real time really saves a bunch of digging through information, trying to call people to find out if their business continuity plan is up to date and where it's located. So definitely leverage that, and you can stay very agile. And so I want to wrap up with what I consider some keys to success for my role at Cisco, and hopefully for the roles that you have. Executive sponsorship, getting that top cover of somebody that you can go to when you have challenges, when you have a budget concern, when you just want to get an enterprise communication out. I think having an executive sponsor is a must. Don't get burnt out. This job, if you're the only person, if it's a global entity, you can definitely be out there working all the time, and you can lose the fact that we're working so we can have a life, not living our life to work. So make sure you have a work-life balance. Understanding the needs of overseas and remote locations. There's a propensity to think at Cisco that we have this huge San Jose campus, and a lot of the work gets done there, but we have buildings all throughout the world, and we want to make sure we stay engaged with those folks and make sure they understand that they're part of our business continuity program. So really make sure that you reach out to those satellite or those remote locations and let them know that if they have questions, they can reach out to you. Building relationships, absolutely. For me, I think that's one of the keys to any job you do, but especially in this role where you have a lot of dotted lines and you don't have direct management of other folks that are doing business continuity work, but you're really counting on them. So leverage groups like HR to get into that database and find out who those key people are that can help you. Communications as you're sending stuff out, IT, the facilities, you see the list of these, all these business continuity planners. Make sure that you're reaching out to those key people. And then the last one, which I mentioned on the last slide, is again, if you can get the budget, put a case together to have a business continuity tool. We've had a formal business continuity tool at Cisco for about a year now, and as I talk to my leadership team and they say, what value does it provide? I say, well, in a business disruption, when we did our kind of looking back 2 years ago, it would take us about 48 hours to make sure that from the time the disruption occurred, that we found out all the impacts, reached out to all the people, and activated all those plans. 48 hours, 2 days, that's a long period of time. Now, I can go into this tool, I can run a report on what sites are impacted, who to reach out to, send a communication to them, look up their business continuity plan, provide a briefing to my leadership team in 5 minutes. 48 hours to 5 minutes. I think that's pretty agile. I think that's the way that you need to look at how you do business moving forward in the future.